Oh, this is so painful. Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, round 3. Hurricanes versus the Western Force. Now, Western Force is the only team, based on the performance from the last 2 weeks, looking like they could potentially win a game against the Kiwi team. And the Hurricanes is currently ranked last in the Kiwi ladder. They might not be the worst team by that much in terms of skill gap, but they were last in the ladder. And you figure that the Western Force could potentially pull a upset here. Yeah. I don't know. This was really painful to watch. I really expected the Western Force to do a lot better than they did against Hurricanes tonight. And it was, the Western Force attack was really flat. The accuracy was really low. The set pieces were not good. Lineouts were poor. The scrums were meh. There was really nothing going for the Western Force. There was literally no attack mounted from the Western Force for most of the game. There was only like 1 or 2 opportunities when the Western Force actually were building inside the Hurricanes half. And for most of the games, Hurricanes had the possession. Yeah. I don't know. I think a lot of that grit the Western Force had in the last 2 weeks just non-existent anymore. The defense was poor, and the players looked kind of burnt out. To be honest, it looked like they were really burnt out this game. Yeah, let's go from the start. So right from the start, actually, everything looked really poor for the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes were just making little mistakes. There was a penalty against the Western Force where Jordie Barrett just missed the touch, and he kicked the ball dead inside the Western Force try end zone, which led to a line out for the Western Force. And again, there was just really poor, really poor discipline from the Hurricanes, just literally giving away penalties after penalties after penalties. Sure enough, not long into the first half, Western Force had a penalty inside a kicking range. 35 meters out, a little bit to the side, not really that hard to kick. Milty gets the kick, 3 points to nil for the Western Force, 5 minutes into the game. And then the mistakes piled on for the Hurricanes. Believe it or not, it looked like the Hurricanes were, didn't do their warm-ups or something. They just, jogged onto the field, forgetting to do their warm-up. And it was just, really silly penalties. Jordie Barrett's kicking was, kicking ball out on the full, outside of his own 22. Missing the touch was a big one as well. And 10 minutes in, another penalty was given for, I think, not releasing on the breakdown. So the Force was piling a little bit of pressure. And another kicking ball range, pretty much on an identical spot as the first kick. So Milty converts the second one. 6 points to nil. And at this point, I was watching, I was thinking, okay. If the Hurricanes are having an off day, and the Western Force keeps their kicking game up, this could be a tight game. It could be entertaining. That was the 10 minutes. That first 10 minutes was all there was for the Western Force fans to cheer for. The floodgate just opened from there onwards. Hurricanes just tied it up the gameplay, and sure enough, Western Force had nothing. Nothing from the Western Force when they had the ball. Had to kick it away many times just because there's nothing going for them. And the Hurricanes, every time they got the ball, every time they ran the ball, looked threatening, building faces, building pressure. And 13 minutes in, Hurricanes gets their first try. Okay, so Western Force actually had another error going for them. So there was after the second conversion, Jordie Barrett kicked the ball out on the full from the kickoff. So there was a halfway line out for the Western Force. Okay, the ball gets overthrown by the Force. Ball gets overthrown, and the Hurricanes hooker, right? Hurricanes hooker Amua, who's replacing the legendary All Black / captain, I believe he was. What's his name? What's his name? Dan Coles. He's stepping in for Dan Coles. And, big shoes to fill. And we all know Dan Coles is really good at running with the football. And he gets the ball from the overthrow from the back of the line out. And he just put the jet shoes on and absolutely burned everyone on the Western Force defense. Kubeli came up to try to make a tackle and just got bumped off. Kubeli had defensive issues all game, okay? Again, he just got bumped off like he didn't even exist. And this guy sprinted down the sideline for 50 meters. Nobody could touch him. Nobody could even get close to him. He was gone. Jet shoes gone. The hooker scored a try 12 minutes in for the Hurricanes, the first try. And they were talking about this guy before the game as well. They're like, he was apparently the best hooker in the world in high school level and in the under 20s. So he's a massive, massive prospect for the All Blacks. And the way he ran the ball there, he did not look like a hooker. He was running at full speed and the backs from the Western Force couldn't even keep up. It was quite impressive and quite a run. And the way he just shrugged off Kubeli like he didn't even exist was quite impressive. And then that's the first try. 7 minutes later, there was a second try score for the Hurricanes. So there was a line out and there was a quick ball and the ball goes to Umaga Jensen. And basically, Hurricanes are compiling pressure on the Western Force at this point. Umaga Jensen sees the space out wide. He throws a very fast cutout pass. The Western Force were doing like rush defense. So they were rushing up, cutting out the space to stop like quick balls. And Umaga Jensen, the freak that he was, gets the ball. He throws a quick ball anyway, despite the rush defense. And he throws a cutout that goes over two Western Force players, gets into the hands of Riasi out wide. Riasi runs in. There was one Force defender comes in to try to push him out. Riasi, as he is getting pushed out, Riasi lifts in the air. He did like the one hand in score try, flying try scoring thing, where his upper body is over the sideline, but his hand is still in game inside the end zone. Reaches in and puts the ball down just in the corner. Beautiful try for Riasi. Did really, really well to keep both his legs off the ground as he was getting pushed out. And that was second try for the Hurricanes. Jordie Barrett converts both first and second tries. Hurricanes 14 points to 6. Now you're thinking, okay, come on, Force. You can hit back. Right? So the Force were trying to build, but they're just really not going anywhere. And at just before halftime, the Force were looking at running the ball out of their own 40. Because, they've realized they've been kicking the ball away and the Hurricanes just been running the ball and the Force is just conceding territory every time the Hurricanes done that. So they're trying to run the ball out of the 40, which is something that's, they should be doing. But the Hurricanes are just too experienced. One of the Hurricanes strips the ball, turns the ball over, and suddenly Hurricanes in an attacking position inside the Force 40. And basically, right away, the Hurricanes turned on the heater. There was a wide pass to Kirifi, and Kirifi runs into Richard Kahui, the former All Black, and he just shrugged him off. And then he just ran 35 meters to score a try. I think maybe the Force was caught a bit off guard when the Hurricanes turned the ball over, but Richard Kahui, as a former All Black, I'd expected him to make that tackle. That was a one-on-one tackle that he should not have missed. It just looked so easy for Kirifi. Just got the ball and he ran straight. Nothing fancy. And just shrugged off Kahui for the try. Third try. 3 tries in the first half for the Hurricanes. Barrett misses this one. And the Hurricanes were up 19 points to 6. Now, there was a stat at halftime. The Hurricanes ran the ball 300 meters and the Western Force 104. 3 times. Almost 3 times the running distance over the Force. Yeah. That says something. The Force attack was really just non-existent this game. There was really... It almost looked like... It almost looked like, right? If you guys ever seen The Simpsons, the episode where Homer was becoming a boxer, where he just like takes all the punches, and then eventually his opponent will tie out, and he just like pushes them over and gets the win. This almost looked like that. Like the Force didn't really retaliate and just getting punched, and you're kind of hoping that maybe the Hurricanes will tire out. But Hurricanes is like, yeah, it's like a profession. Yeah, it's not gonna tire out. It's not gonna tire out. So second half starts. Right away, the Hurricanes were putting pressure on again. There was a penalty going against the Western Force. Hurricanes kick the ball out, goes for a quick line out, ball comes in, okay? And literally, this was just textbook, spread the ball out wide, try, okay? Hurricanes just had the ball, worked the ball a little bit in the near the line out, so all the Western Force players were sucked in, and there was like 8 people inside the train tracks and like 7 people covering the entire rest of the field. And Hurricanes just spread the ball out wide, just hands, right out wide. Goosen was right out wide who gets the ball, and he just had like acreage of green space in front of him. And he runs diagonally into the corner, slides in, beautiful try. First try of the second half for the Hurricanes. And Hurricanes on the board 6 minutes into the second half. Okay? And so, yeah, Western Force, you're like, okay, after a really lackluster first half, maybe you'll put some pressure on the second half. And now they can't kick for points anymore. You're so far behind, you need to score tries. So the Western Force did try to build some phases. 50 minutes in, there was a real opportunity, okay, for the Western Force to score a try. They were like 5 minutes out from the Hurricanes half. They got a penalty, so they're going for a line out, 5 meters out, just inside Hurricane half. And as this, like, everyone is setting up the line out, the Hurricanes brings on their big guns. Okay? This is where, like, you can tell the Kiwis are more experienced than the Aussie teams. The Western Force brings on their support, their bench, at 60 minutes. Every game. It's like, regardless of what is happening, their reserves comes on at 60 minutes. Whereas the Hurricanes sees this, seeing that the Western Force is building momentum, seeing that the Western Force could score a try here, seeing that the Western Force, knowing that the Western Force is tired and that reserves hasn't come on yet, Hurricanes brings on their support. Especially the big gun, Adi Savia, the All Blacks number 8, who's been injured and he's coming back for his first return game. He brings him on, and guess what? Massive impact. The Western Force has line out and just gets demolished. They try to set up more and they get pushed back themselves. And eventually, the Hurricanes turn the ball over. Just literally went nowhere. Literally went backwards. They went backwards in their own line out from a 5-meter attacking position. Because the Hurricanes saw the threat and brought on fresh players for this line out. And the Western Force did nothing to respond. And that's the problem with a lot of the Aussie teams. They fail to strategically play the bench. Something that Eddie Jones has done really well for the England team. And something that, it's quite frankly, should be basic knowledge by now for all the rugby teams, that your bench is there to be utilized as a strategic injection into the game. Not something you put on at a 60-minute mark, regardless of what is happening. Okay? I can actually talk about so many of these errors from other games as well, but for this particular case, Hurricanes brought on their reserves, Western Force did nothing to respond. And that's exactly what happened. Their reserves came on, Adi Safia completely smothered the maul from the line out, turned the ball over, lost the opportunity to score a try. And then the Western Force, so that was not the end. That was not the end. So there was a lot of back and forth again. Eventually, the Western Force were building phases again. They were able to get back into the Hurricanes half, through some penalties. They were able to get back to the Hurricanes half. They did so a few minutes later, they were getting back into the Hurricanes half. They did again, I think they had a line out, and they were just building phases inside the Hurricanes 5 meter line. They're just crashing. And just like the entire game that has happened, the Western Force backline has been really inaccurate. The passes has been like going to players that are flat-footed, that flare players not running onto the ball. But everything that was wrong with the Western Force backline exemplified in this one play here. Okay? So the Western Force were building phases, getting the forwards crashing inside the Hurricanes 22. So they're looking really threatening. There was space out wide. They did everything right. They drawn in the defenders, and they had space out wide in the open side. I think it was Cubetti. Excuse me. I think it was Cubetti. Might be someone else. I don't know. I don't want to call you out because this was the most horrendous pass I have ever seen. He gets the ball. Okay? Let's just say he who should not be ashamed. Okay? He gets the ball. He throws a card out pass over 2 or 3 of his own players. Okay? So there was space out wide. So he throws the card out. The ball landed on grass. Nobody was there. They landed between a huge gap inside his own attacking line. So this, like, the ball bounces on the ground, and the Hurricane defense comes up. The guy who's there to pick up the loose ball, Rayasi, the winger from the Hurricanes team. He gets the ball, runs 95 meters, scores a try. That was a 14-point try. That's why they call it a 14-point try. Because if that ball had gone to hand, that would have been a try for the Western Force. And the fact that the passing was so poor, so inaccurate, it bounced on the ground to nobody, and he was able to, Rayasi scoops it up 95 meters the other way. That's a 14-point turnaround. It was very difficult to watch. Very, very difficult to watch. Sadly, the bleeding doesn't stop there. There was, again, I think maybe around the 65 minute mark, minutes, 65 minutes, the Force had another opportunity to get themselves back. The good thing about the Force is they don't really give up. So they kept pushing. They had they had another penalty building into a lineout, and the lineout turned into a maul. The Western Force, this time, unlike the previous maul they did about 20 minutes ago, this time they set it up properly. They push. Eventually they get over. They put the ball down. Referee says on-field decision try, but they want to see potential obstruction into the maul. So we watched the replay. So there was a very, very minor technical foul in the maul. So the ball carrier comes down, and the thing is, when you're setting up the maul, you need to set it up the maul and then roll it. Okay, so the guy who gets the ball, you set the maul up on the guy who gets the ball, and then you roll the maul, right? What the Western Force did was, the guy gets the ball, comes down, he feeds the ball back to the player before the maul was set, and the player who got the ball starts to roll the maul before the ball was set. So he technically ran into his own player before a maul was set. So that was obstruction. So just again, clinical errors, just execution was just a little bit off. The person should have they should have set the maul and then roll it. They didn't. They got the ball down and they basically tried to roll the maul before the maul was set, leading to the ball carrier running into running into his own player as a shield, basically. Using his own player as a shield and running into a Hurricanes defender. And that was obstruction. So nothing's working for the Western Force this game. So that was really, that could have been a really good try for the Force. But yeah, just technical error cost them. 72nd minute, there was a beautiful try for the Hurricanes. for Lamape. Again, this is like, when a team does, like, like a team, they're going to do something that everyone knows what someone's going to do. Okay, this is where this team has been playing with each other for a long time, and they've been drilling a lot. Because Jordie Barrett got the ball, and he sees Jordie the freak Barrett got the ball. He sees space behind, okay? So he decides to chip the ball over, do a chip kick over the defender that was coming up to tackle him. Now this literally, like, the thing is, the Hurricanes managed to pull this off, not because Jordie Barrett saw the space out wide and he decides to chip. It's the fact that everyone in the Hurricanes team saw the space and wanted Jordie Barrett to do the kick. I don't know if they like caught it on the field, but everyone in the Hurricanes like attack knew this was happening. So Jordie Barrett chips the ball over, and Adi Savia catches the ball on the full. Can you imagine this? Like you're attacking, and Jordie Barrett chips the ball over. Adi Savia runs in, catches the ball on the full, like a tiny little chip over. Adi Savia catches the ball. It's almost like a pass. To Adi Savia, but with a chip over. That's how accurate this kick was. How pinpoint accurate and how well coordinated this kick was. So there's no way they would have pulled this off if Jordie Barrett saw space and just like spontaneously decided to do a chip kick, because nobody else would be able to respond that quickly. They knew there was space. Multiple players saw it. Adi Savia saw it. Jordie Barrett saw it. And they all decided that Jordie Barrett was going to kick. So Jordie Barrett did the kick. Adi Savia was already running, sprinting for it, catches the ball. And he's not the fastest player on the field. Adi Savia, probably the biggest guy on the field, definitely not the fastest, catches the ball. He runs up. Fullback comes in to tackle him. He offloads the ball to Lumapi, runs 40 meters, try time for the super center for the Hurricanes. It's a shame that he's going to Europe, because he is absolutely spectacular player. It's really, really shame that he's leaving New Zealand rugby. I really wanted to see him play more in Super Rugby. But yeah, Lumapi gets the ball, runs 45 meters, scores a try. Beautiful setup. Like, the amount of coordination for this, the amount of just understanding of what your teammates was going to do was just superb. You can see the players has played with each other for so long. They just knew this was going to happen. And sure enough, the Western Force finally, in the dying minutes of the game, the Western Force, as they always do, tries to fight back. They had the ball inside their own half. They're trying to run the ball out. The clock is red. It's on the 80th minute. Western Force were just trying to run the ball out. And then eventually, Hurricanes turns the ball over. And then Hurricanes starts the attack. And this is like one of the most, I guess this is where Jordie Barrett is showing his, 5A skills here. So Jordie Barrett got the ball. So Hurricanes were attacking. Jordie Barrett got the ball at center position. So he was playing like second 5A inside center for a lot of the games, a lot of times for this game. So again, he was at inside center position. He gets the ball. He passes the ball. I can't even explain it because it was so complicated. He passes the ball and then he loops around to the sideline, right? And then he gets the ball. Yeah, I don't even know what happened. He passes the ball and then he loops himself around to the wing and he gets the ball back from his own support player on the wing and he runs in for the try. But that's basically what happened. He was literally two players in the attacking line. The way he just moved himself around so smoothly into the attacking position again after he's offloaded the ball, it was just. Yeah, it was just really, really crisp. Really, really good to see. And he runs in for his try. And the commentator said they saved the best to last, and I agree. That was actually a beautiful, beautiful backline play by the Hurricanes. Just like, I don't know, it was like magic. He just like, yeah, sets up the little line break, and he runs around the back and eventually gets the ball back in for himself, and he run like an angle from the sideline in, and he just cuts in. Too fast, too good. Try time for the Hurricanes, and that was the 7th try for the Hurricanes. Yeah, another loss for the Aussie teams. The only team that looked like that could potentially win a game goes down to a basketball score here. Anyway, guys, there's 3 games tomorrow, and yeah, hopefully, maybe we see a win with the Reds. Maybe, I think the Reds are probably out. Not gonna win. I think the only team that could potentially win tomorrow is the Brumbies. I think Brumbies are playing the Blues tomorrow. I don't even know, man. It's so painful. When I see the lockdown happen in Melbourne, I honestly thought the game was gonna get pulled for the Rebels game, and I honestly thought that was gonna be like, you know, the no contest. That would have been a win for me. A no contest for the Melbourne Rebels, but that game is going to be played on Sunday in Sydney. So, yeah. Oh, man. Crusaders, Waratahs. Oh, that's going to be 100 points. I looked at this the starting team as well. The Crusaders has the full strength team against the Waratahs tomorrow as well. That's going to be a huge, yeah, against the Blues, Brumbies. So maybe this will be a game that the Brumbies can win. Maybe. If the Blues are not really in form. Maybe. Hopefully. But this one, maybe with the triple digit. Maybe it'll be a triple digit for the Crusaders. Because Crusaders has a full strength team on for this game. They have Scott Redcut Barrett back as captain yeah. Pretty much a full strength team against the Waratahs. I think there might be a triple digit in this game. Hopefully not, but we'll have to wait till tomorrow and see. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys for the triple header tomorrow. Cheers.